Hey everybody, Wimpy here, and I'm trying to do some different things with my videos, and I thought it'd be fun to do a stream of consciousness video about this latest build that I've been working on. It's an RL25 strength build, uses a variety of weapons, and it's mainly focused on using the Crescent Moon Axe. But as you can see from here, I was messing around with Holy Ground and seeing how effective it was. And turns out very effective. So what was happening in this invasion was these guys were being very passive, turning and burning and then running away. So I said, fine, you know what? I'll swap to a poison thrusting sword, and I'll use Holy Ground, and I'll try to outlast them. And so that's what I'm doing right now. As you can see from both the host, who's using the Blasphemous Blade, or I should say the summon, and the host using a mace, they're not doing very much damage to me. And I get to heal off most of the damage they do actually do to me, so it proved to be very effective. I don't typically like fighting this way. However, as an experiment, it was very interesting. So right now I'm just trying to get the poison to proc onto them. I feel pretty confident about just R1 spamming into both their attacks, as I've seen that they don't really do any damage at all. As soon as it wears off, I get to basically cast for free because they're somewhat passive. That guy missed his jumping attack. But I'm fairly confident that the host does not have any boluses, so this, you know, it's basically a fight that I've won. They just don't realize it quite yet. This guy goes in for a very solid strategy of just attacking and rolling away. That's fine because I can stand in my circle and not take any damage. I think the host is looking for a bolus right now. Someone gets smart and actually goes for a backstab. Picks up a pretty big chunk of my health, but you know, I could just keep standing in this circle and nothing happens. This is pretty broken at low levels, and like I said, I don't particularly like to play with it like this, but these guys were passive enough that I felt like it warranted it. And they just realized what was going on, so they quit out. Here's the armor I eventually ended up using, and here are the stats. 28 vigor. Basically the rest is endurance. Nothing into strength, because you can use talismans to get to high strength. But I did put 16 points into dex, so I could use both the Crescent Moon Axe and the Great Epi. Here are some of the weapons I use for it. So, lots of different weapon types. I like to swap it around, I like to keep it fresh. This is 69 poise, haha, funny number, but that's a threshold for the heavy thrusting sword, so that's why I like to use it. This was a fun invasion. 2023, Year of Our Lord. There are still AFK farmers. These guys were actually AFK. It's insane, but yeah, get fucked. Look at those runes. I think I upgraded a lot of the weapons with that runes. Imagine AFK farming. This was a pretty fun invasion. So I think I checked to see how many players were in the lobby, and saw that there was 3 of them, so I'm like, I'm not just gonna run in there and get blundered. So I'm using the ballista right now to try to bait them out. The ballista is really good on basically any build. Highly recommend it. You just need like 20 strength and I think like 26 strength for the jar cannon if you want to get a little bit more damage and a little flatter trajectory. But you know, I was lazy. I didn't feel like grabbing the jar cannon on this build. However, that's pretty good. As you can see, one person fell down. I'm pretty confident he's trying to sneak up behind me, so launch a couple more of these in there and then check and make sure that he's not there yet. So back to the straight sword. I was in a mood to parry a lot today, but as you'll see, my plans got changed when I saw how these guys were playing. I like to initiate with R2s. This man's using power strength straight swords, and he's a little bit laggy, so I go for a couple parries, realize that it's probably not going to work out, so I need to adjust my game plan. I go for two-handed so I get some more damage and some better poise damage, but again, he's pretty laggy, so I decide maybe I can force him into some trades, get some status effects on him. The bubble there. Power stance straight swords is pretty good, and it's very good, especially in hyper meta, because of how much poise damage they do up front. I think they're pretty much a guaranteed stagger. So that guy is just rolling my attacks, and now he has a friend with Reduvia to just spam in the background. So I jump up here to try to lead one of them away. It works. Here I go for a charge R2 and catch him on the backswing for some big damage and finish him off with a throwing knife. Back to what I was doing. This guy heals up. I think I try to hit him a couple more times with the axe here. I'm basically spamming out of hit stun, trying to gain priority again in the matchup, but I think with power stance straight swords, I don't know if that's possible. I feel like they will always poise break with L1s. Go for a parry again, doesn't really work. And by now, he probably has a pretty good sense of what my stamina is, because he really only attacks when he knows that I'll have no stamina. So I swap it up here to his Y. I don't remember what my reasoning for this was, but I think I was just reason that, hey, if I can force him into some trades, then maybe I can win. And yeah, I managed to have a little cheeky R2 there, catch him. And a nice little trade there, but he's a bit too laggy to get the crouch, poke, roll catch, so I need to get a little more creative. Go for a second R2 here, but he rolls it, and I pay a lot by taking a lot of damage. I have to heal that one. I think I go for, yeah, crouch poke. Trying just to bait out an attack and for him to trade into it. Notice he knew that I was low on stamina there. I go for another 2 R2s and managed to catch him this time. It was a very fun fight. Let's see, the host. I think I swapped back to my straight sword here because I was gonna see if it was something that was parryable. But surprise, surprise, he's got the rotten great axe. So I try to play a little unlocked. He staggers his attack there, which is really smart. I go for a backstab, but miss. He's really into the fake jumps and the neutral jumps, and that's actually a very good strategy. There he hyper armored my attack. And now I'm rotted, so I have to come up with a solution really quickly. I Goomba stomped him there. I was really curious what did damage, but it was actually from landing on him. I swapped to my own rotten weapon here with Barbaric Roar. Barbaric Roar and hammer weapons is like pretty good. It's got a lot of hyper armor, and I figured I can out-trade him. I typically do not like to use rotten weapons at low level, but seeing as how he is using it, I figured it was probably okay. There you go, Frost proc, and he's dead. GG's. I should have edited this to be a little bit more cleaner. So much like menu and footage. This was super fun. So it turns out one of the skips you can do to get into Leyndell early is using the teleporter chest and then having an invader activate the elevator for you in order to get in there. I run around a little bit, noticed that the door is closed here, so then I figured this is probably what he's doing. So I used the Phantom Finger to see if I can get lucky and get repositioned up top. You know, and as luck would have it. First try, baby. So, I don't think he was expecting me to come up here. He's very clearly not looking my direction. So, okay. Jar cannoned him off the edge. GG's, dude. Hopefully somebody comes along that will let him go in there. Alternatively, you could just poison the tree sentinel. This was a really fun invasion. So I was wandering around, wondering where they were, and then I came across them sitting in this little tunnel. So I go for a free backstab. I have the crit talisman on, so that that man is I wouldn't say over level, but he's probably got some pretty good damage negation and resistance. I swapped to the ballista just to see if I can get them out of this little tunnel, and it works. Here I realized that the host is using dual daggers, and also he has no damage, so I'm guessing that those are unupgraded weapons. Go for a parry there. Surprisingly, don't kill him for one shot. Maybe I don't have the crit talisman approach or turned on. Go for a backstab on that guy, but it didn't work, and he gets saved by the host. That's okay. The host does such little damage that I feel like I can focus the summon. Decide to bolus up because I don't want to get staggered. Go for another parry, but he doesn't running attack. Frost Breath does a number on me, so I think I bolus this as well. Yep. Can go for a parry, but I'm late. Managed to parry one of the projectiles though, and that's what ends up killing the summon. What do you know? 8th time's the charm. Parry the running attack and kill him. GG's. This I just included because I thought it was a pretty fun little invasion. So I came in, I didn't use any of my poison equipment, but I noticed that as I spawned, the host was already poisoned. So I'm like, no, it's not really much I can do, you know. But the host, he was a trooper. He stayed in it.
Hey!
Some honest PvEers. What else? This was a fun invasion. So, earlier on, they were, I wouldn't say being very passive, but they're not really caring that I was in the world. So I started to use my ballista on them to try to goad them out. And I saw that the summon appeared to be very high level. So I do believe, yep, I have the crit talisman on. I swapped to my straight sword here so I can get some extra crit boost. And I see that he has double katana, so I go for parry. Double katanas, to me, are pretty easy to parry when someone L1 spams, so that was a good call on my part. And yep, I believe that was max level rune, so that guy, Mr. Mega Mule, was a max level character. Who would have thought? But surprisingly, the host proved to be even more formidable. Maybe I was playing with my food a little bit too much, but he really loved his hype armor attacks and attacking out of his shield. I never really used those, so it's really cool to see him used. He also has some pretty fun little lashes that I don't see used that often. So yeah, we have some pretty fun back and forth here. A couple of times, yeah, he managed to nail it because one, I think it's parryable, and two, I think I can poise through it, but those attacks actually get a lot of poise. I guard break him, but instead I go for a R2 out of it, which is stupid. Right now I'm two-handing to try to break his shield, or his poise. Can't speak. To break his guard again, but he's playing a little bit smarter about it. Go for a parry there, but he delays his attack. Pretty smart. Here I realize that if he does try to use that attack on me, you can just R2 faster than they can do the animation. And that will stack him. So he gets the bleed proc on me, so I have to heal this. Again, lovely charge attack. You love to see it. Again, I didn't anticipate breaking his guard, so I think I go for a backstab here, yeah, but I missed, but I still managed to. So that was a fun fight. GG's. This invasion was a little bit of overkill on my part. Typically, when I see a setup like this, I assume over-leveled, but A, that person wasn't paying attention, and B, I was actually doing some pretty good damage to them, so it works out. That guy swapped to a halberd here, yeah. I think, this guy's gonna just probably try to run away from me. Changed my mind and swapped to the Great Epi. One of my favorite weapons. Heavy thrusting swords are, in general, pretty good for a lot of things. Specifically for the running R2. But they surprised me. They turned around and decided they were going to attack. But they were both pretty honest. It's a lot of overkill on my part. As you can tell, I think they probably had like +2 weapons. The more Stormveil invasions. I think it's not this one. I think it's a later invasion that I use Holy Ground again. But this one was pretty fun. I see that guy's using bikes, so I decided to not be so honorable here and kill him. That's because bikes is pretty annoying to deal with. This guy has no interest in fighting me, so I do a little chasing here. But they did manage to kill the Banished Knight, so that was pretty cool. A little bit of laggy there, but kill him as he's falling. Pretty boring by comparison, but, you know, it's kind of a fun little invasion. Here I'm trying to decide which weapon to use against this guy, and I ended up using the Banished Knight Greatsword, one of my favorite weapons and movesets. And as you can see from the damage that this guy is doing, he is pretty over-leveled. Not to mention he's using the Blasphemous Blade, so... Try to get a cheeky second hit on my R1 there, but he runs away. I think it's no longer a pseudo combo, I'm not really sure. Let's see here. R1, go for a Piercing Fang, and manage to kill him. This is being stun-locked by the bird. Props to the host for not taking any shit and trying to R1 spam his way out of it. He went down swinging. GG's. This was an interesting invasion. I think I used Holy Ground earlier, kind of similar to the first invasion of this video, where I was trying to wait people out. These guys were also being fairly passive, but once they kind of got wind of what I was trying to do, they started to have a little bit more back and forth, which was fun. Nice hard swap by that guy. Curve sword with fire. Oh wait, no, that's the one, Talon. The Talon straight sword with the unique R2. Very cool. But I swapped to a thrusting sword. 1, so I could apply status effect, and 2, because I saw that they were both fairly low poise. So when they have low enough poise, even though there's lowered poise damage for second and third hits, you can still stun lock people for a while. I think I swapped up to some burst damage here. Did the Ash of War there with some hyper armor just to try to get the host off of me. It wasn't my intention to kill him right away. I wanted to see how many runes this guy was worth. Back to Barbaric Roar and a Hammer. Such amazing hyper. Look at this. Sad that it doesn't automatically connect last hit, but maybe it would be overpowered if it did. So he used his physic, so I'm assuming he's running low on heals. And fun fact, you can hyper armor out of that and it glitches the fuck out of your game. Amazing hype armor R1s, and eventually he dies to the rot. GG's. Host is playing a little bit smarter now. He realizes that he'll get out traded if he gets caught in that, so he's backpedaling pretty hard. Smart on him. Thankfully, though, you can still apply status effects on roll with a lot of weapons, so... And look at the hyper armor on Wild Strikes. That's amazing. But he succumbs to the rod. Oh yeah, and from this clip, that seems pretty dishonest, but I think the entire invasion was like 10 minutes of like back and forth, so... I figured they warranted it. What is going on in this invasion? I'm trying to remember. Oh, I remember this one. So the host and the summon were being pretty passive. They're sticking around the spawn right now. They were just hanging out there waiting for me, so I decided I would come up here and wait for them. Thankfully, I didn't have to wait too long. You know, I don't actually use the Mimic Veil that often in invasions. You know, but it is a fun tool, for sure. Swap to the ballista to try to get some cheeky shots on them while they're coming up the ramps here. However, you only have so much degree of freedom looking down. Managed to get the explosive bolt off and set some of those barrels on fire, which is pretty good. But they're kind of onto what I'm doing now, so they jump down to the very bottom. I see that the guy's wearing Leyndell, so I'm gonna go ahead and change to a little bit of a meaner setup. I think earlier in the invasion, I saw some of the weapons they were using, so... Here, I almost managed to kill the host, but thankfully for him, the ballista reload speed's pretty slow. So manages to get the cover. Host is very clearly over level now, because the MC is using waves of gold. So I get a couple more cheeky shots on the host, and then I swap back to the Dragon Halberd. Dragon Halberd is an amazing weapon. Very low dex requirement from my understanding, from what I remember. Very good Astropore, which gets a lot of hyper armor. You can poise through a lot of different attacks. I go ahead and fully buff up. I stack Crab, Holy Ground, and my Physic, which has the 10% negation. He's using Hand of Millennia, which... in this patch is very, very deadly. It can potentially one-shot you. He's just spamming L2. But I can hit L2 as well. And dead. A little victory dance. The Holy Ground incantation is so good. Or I should say Ash. Alright, I see that I have a coat here, so I decided to go ahead and buff up as soon as I spawn in. Decided to focus on the summon in order to help my co out. I believe that this host is actually stat hacking. I think if you take a look at his health bar, you'll notice as well. I don't notice until much later in the invasion. Right now I have the Great Epi with RKR on it for some nice burst damage. And I'm just trying to help my co out by getting them off of him. Managed to get a nice R2 there. And he decides he wants to trade into me, so I'm able to finish him off. At this point I'm actually pretty curious. I'm wondering why the Co decided to poison him. And I think either now or in a little bit I noticed that his health bar is massive. I'm pretty slow, but eventually I figure it out. Look at the hyper armor and poison mist. Such a great tool to have in your arsenal. I suppose maybe maybe he was using Morgoth's, but Morgoth's is what, like a 20% boost. I think I did the math, and he would have to have less than 2600 HP if he was using Morgoth's, and he was at my maximum invasion range. So I'm pretty sure he was stat hacking. At this point, I figured it out, so I swapped to another status effect weapon. Oop, sorry, Ko. Right now, I'm just trying to get the either the frost or the rot the proc on him. If you notice, the Ko is also using a poison weapon, so. Boom. Staggered and then finished off. You know, all in all, this it wasn't the worst thing. I've definitely seen people hack in extra Estus, but this was the first time I've ever seen an actual stat hack. This invasion coming up was pretty fun, pretty short. I was experimenting with, I think this is one of the troll swords. Oh, I still had invincibility frames. Oh, catch him. I think I finished him off with throwing knives, yeah. It's not as good as some of the other swords. I go for a backstab here, but managed to get rotted instead. It's not as long as the Zwei or as the normal greatsword, or I should say the colossal sword greatsword. Catch him in a nice little vortex here. Finish the invasion. But you know, it's pretty good. I see that the guard boost on this sword is 51, so it's as good as a medium shield. And yeah, it does more damage than the Zwei, so it's pretty fun. One of my favorite Ashes of War is Stamp Uppercut, and here we just had a Stamp Uppercut fest. I go for an attack and he manages to catch me with one, and so I roll in and decide that I want to do that myself. I have the Warrior Jar Shard, so I do more damage. And do a sneaky little crouch poke into an R1 and finish the invasion. Shout out to Rom576 for this setup. So here for this invasion, I was running Halberd off Lance. And one of the benefits of off Lance is that the off Lance L1 actually gets some pretty good hyper armor. I'm not a fighting game aficionado. I guess the term gain priority gets thrown around. I'm not gonna pretend like I know what those words mean. I just know that it lets me attack when someone else is attacking. These guys were playing pretty passively. When I joined the lobby, there's 3 of them, and they were intent on sticking around near the church and not doing anything, so I'm just using the ballista right now to try to draw them out. Who would win? One over-leveled Phantom or one little Lance boy? So we're waving and teabagging and shooting you with arrows and stuff, trying to get me to come over there, but I really do not feel like getting ganked, so I'm fine with standing right over here. Fun fact though, where I'm at, I don't even think is in enough range to aggro the dragon behind me, so they could very easily run up here. I point off in the distance because what I actually meant to do was point at the dragon. I didn't roll that because I thought I was out of range, but turns out I was not, so go ahead and use my holy ground crutch here. Swap to the Blessed Dew Talisman for maximum cheese. And now I actually am safety rolling them just in case. He swaps to, I believe that's the incantation version of Black Flame. So I've never really messed with those spells, so I'm not sure. He's pretty close now. I think any moment now he'll come in. Oh, give me a nice little beckon. I'm still gonna point. Cheeky little lightning bolt there while I was in an animation. Eventually, yeah, eventually he does come in. So I initiate with a lance strike, then halberd, and then lightning strike, and then roll catch. Overall, very fun setup. I actually highly recommend it. I'm not sure. You could probably stack enough passive poise to negate it, but I stood around for a little bit and then realized that they're still not going to come over there and fight me, so I'm feeling pretty confident about the 1v2. Come in there, buff up, see how much damage I do to this other phantom. It's a decent amount. Not crazy amounts of damage, but they're clearly higher level than me. Decide to turn and burn the host. And hyper armor through their attacks with Flaming Strike. And it's over. So yeah, very fun setup. Highly recommend. And highly recommend strength builds in general. Have a nice day.